I'd like to start by asking all three of you, how have you used the strengths approach?
Well, I use it with one-to-one clients, coaching clients mainly, who most recently have been small to medium business owners who have had very little, if any, personal development, don't have HR departments. And it's been really transformational. It's an easy tool for them to understand and also apply actions.
And David, same question.
The example I'd like to give is one of working with a whole organisation at very senior level and working out in India, so 45 vice presidents and AVPs from across the world, where they're really looking at a strengths-based organisation, really wanting to release strengths, particularly being driven by engagement and wanting to increase engagement within the organisation.
Ewan, can you share a bit more about your experiences with the strengths approach and also with the tool Strengthscope?
Well, a recent example, similar to David's, around a sort of a strengths-based organisation who wanted to move away from a training culture to a learning culture. And it was around learning teams. And Strengthscope has a team report as well, where it was quite a senior team in HR who wanted to look at what they had around the table in terms of their strengths. What do they have available to them in terms of being creative, evaluating situations, analysing data, and also making decisions. The tool allows for that, and it's able to sort of highlight where the strengths lie within the team, but also what strengths they need to also work on to get sort of medium and short-term goals met.
And what's so different about this approach to people development, David?
Well, just keeping with my example, I was just reflecting then, because one's looking at identifying one's strengths, so really raising my awareness of what are my strengths and how I use them, it's also noticing how much so often a weakness, as it's seen, impacting the organisation is actually a strength that's overdrive. And there's some wonderful examples of that. So that's one piece. So if I take that example, one person from last year, Vice President, who went away really observing that in fact initiative as a strength was in overdrive, talked to his own reports regarding that, realised he could never say no, changed his approach in the following month, and ended up a month later saying to me that he had won a $10 million contract just by focusing around that strength in overdrive.
Alison, what have you learned from using the strengths approach?
I think for me, people buy into it a lot more readily than with other psychometric tools, because generally the premise is to then focus on weaknesses. And with Strengthscope, you're looking at what people enjoy, what energises them, and as David says, what that might look like if the energy runs away and it's not controlled and becomes detrimental to overperformance. So I think because you're focusing on areas that the individual enjoys naturally, there's that engagement, that higher engagement with the tool.
Ewan, what have you learned from using the strengths approach?
Well, similarly, we were talking about when you ask people about what they enjoy about their job, what they really love doing, you will see an energy around them. You'll see that they enjoy their work, there's an energy there fulfilled about their work. And it's almost how do you capture that energy. I come across a lot of people who will use that wonderful quote about people are your greatest asset of an organisation. I say, well, that is partly true, but actually it's using people's strengths collectively in the pursuit of the goals. That is your competitive advantage. Just having people turn up for work doesn't actually mean you're going to be any better off.
And do you have any final tips for the people who are watching us now to get the most from Strengthscope and from this approach?
I would certainly recommend just stopping and thinking about when they were playing at their best. How do they feel? How could we harness more of our energies and strengths in our organisation to be more fulfilled in our work? And what would the performance be like if we were all truly switched on at the same time?
Alison, same question. Do you have any top tips?
And I think similar to what Ewan's just said, is being quite strategic in the approach and using it at the recruitment stage. So you're actually understanding what you're looking for in a particular role and what somebody's naturally attuned to doing and what they enjoy doing. Because if you then have the right person in the job, it makes it a lot easier further down the line in terms of development.
David, same question. Do you have any final tips for people watching us?
Well, what we notice is the 24 strengths of Strengthscope are in everybody. And we're looking at those that really energise people and some that don't energise them as much. So there's a dynamic playing out between them. So one of the things we're looking at is not just that awareness piece, but really putting them into action, as Ewan has just said, but then looking at how agile am I in using those strengths to really supplement and mitigate against, shall we say, a weakness. So if, for example, I'm not really strong on detail orientation, but actually I love the creativity piece, I can apply my creativity to an activity that requires detail and become more creative, therefore more successful in its performance.
That's great. Thank you so much to all three of you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.